I don't want to be the girl in a corner.
Someone always finds the dirt and airs out the laundry. That's why any and everything I've ever done, I'd rather you ask me.
Hey everybody, it's Chastity. At least I am back for another video. I don't know if you all have watched my giveaway dilemma video, but I mentioned about receiving a package last Thursday. I was supposed to receive a package regarding the PMI in my house. So for those that have not watched it, so when I bought this house, I did not originally put 20% down, which typically if you have borrower paid PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. So if you have borrower paid mortgage insurance, then once you reach that 20% threshold of your loan value, you can have it canceled. So typically what you have to do is to call and or contact and or write your mortgage company. I suggest personally just having a paper trail as well. So you might have called, write down the date and time you called, but make sure that you also have a paper trail as well. So I would personally send a letter to say or to request having it canceled. So I called my mortgage company and I let them know, I'm like, well, at this point, I'm at my 20% mark. Can I go ahead and cancel the PMI? So they called me back earlier they sent me a email. So they're supposed to send the package out on Thursday, because I guess they have a package that they have to send out and then you fill out paperwork and different stuff. So they contacted me on Friday and sent me an email. And based on the email, it says that I have lender paid PMI. So, or lender paid mortgage insurance. So basically I was like, huh? Because I had never heard of it. I had never heard of lender paid mortgage insurance. I just always thought that it was borrower paid. Like if you go back and you look at my dilemma giveaway video, I kind of gave an explanation. Like if you have a conventional loan, which I had a conventional loan, the PMI stays on for typically conventional loan. The PMI would stay on your file or stay on your mortgage until you reach that 20% loan to value threshold. So basically it's like saying, let's say you took out a $100,000 loan for your house and then you paid $20,000. So you're at the 20% mark of your 100K. So at that point you should be able to contact your mortgage company and ask them to cancel the mortgage insurance. So when I contacted them, they initially said, okay, well you're at your 20%, you know, we'll send out the package Thursday. So Friday came, they sent me an email and they told me that I had lender paid mortgage insurance. So basically for me, there's nothing to cancel. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, it's a conventional loan. It ought to have borrower paid mortgage insurance on it. So they explained to me basically that, or what I found was that with lender paid mortgage insurance, your lender is paying it, obviously lender paid. So my lender is paying the mortgage insurance. So technically, I'm not paying out anything for mortgage insurance, which seems great because it makes your monthly mortgage less because you're not paying the mortgage insurance in addition to that. However, what happens is that when you have lender paid mortgage insurance, it stays on there for the life of the loan. And what happens, the reason why it stays on for the life of the loan is that in order for the lender to pay your monthly, or in order for the lender to pay your mortgage insurance, they have to, of course, because they're giving something, they have to get something back. So since they're paying for the mortgage insurance, they increased my interest rate, which based on my credit score, I qualify for, with my credit score at the time when I bought the house, I qualified, or I should have qualified for one of the better interest rates. So because they're paying that mortgage insurance, they were able to go up with my interest rate because they pay the mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. And of course, the interest rate lasts for the life of the loan. So I can't cancel my mortgage insurance, but my interest rate is higher. And then that's gonna be for the entire life of the loan. So basically, yes. So basically, since it's lender paid mortgage insurance, they're paying it for the entire life of the loan, and they slightly increased my interest rate to kind of make up for the fact that they're the ones paying and not me paying the mortgage insurance. So I can't cancel it. However, something that you can do. You can always, if you want that removed, because I'm like, well, what are my ways? What are my options if I want to get around this? The only other option that I would have to get around this is if I were to refinance. So the thing about that is, if you refinance, I could refinance as a conventional loan, and what I could do, which typically you don't want to refinance unless your interest rate is significantly lower. So like if it's, I read like if it's a point and a quarter lower. So my interest rate is like 4.25. So basically, based on what I've read, it wouldn't make sense for me to refinance my home unless, say, the interest rate was 3%. So I don't really see any 3% interest rates out there right now, so I'm not refinancing. But if you were to refinance, then I could, or if I were to refinance, I could do a conventional loan and make specific, I want borrower paid PMI. What you do is you refinance, you pay like 3% or something like that, whatever is required in order for you to refinance, which I think they have like a down payment percentage that you have to provide. Those are my options. Either stick with it and just continue to pay aggressively until I just get this house paid off, or I can just refinance and then make sure I have that borrower paid PMI and then cancel it once I reach the 20% loan to value mark. But honestly, I feel that with this, I would just take it as a lesson learned, because I did not realize that that was a part of my mortgage. I should have read. But I think with this being my first home and just being excited with being able to get like the inclusives, like I mentioned to you all in one of my other videos, just being able to get the washer, the dryer, and to get the vents put in, and to get the fridge. I think with the excitement of getting all of those items included in my mortgage, I think with that, I kind of lost sight of some of the other things. So, and I feel like, you know, I knew a lot about housing and or home loans when I came into this, but it's just one of the things that I did not look at, because I was excited about purchasing this home, and like all of it was done last minute, because when I came to look at the house, I was like, well, I already knew, because I've been looking in this neighborhood for roughly like 2 or 3 years before I even bought this home. So I already had an idea, because I looked at different floor plans and I've been looking in this neighborhood, and this was honestly the first floor plan that I looked at, and I fell in love with it. And so I was like, well, I already know what floor plan I want. So to me, it was a matter of coming to this neighborhood, finding out what homes they had available in this floor plan, and then seeing what location I wanted to be in, because they have like several different neighborhoods. And even though this is like one large community, there are like several different neighborhoods all throughout. It's like at least four different neighborhoods within this one community. So just finding a particular location that I wanted to be in. So I was like, well, I know I want this floor plan. I want it to be a brand new house. So I was like, I know I want new construction. I know I want this floor plan. And so this particular house, when we came to look at it, it was literally just wood and nails. Like there was no wall, absolutely nothing here. One of the things I regret is that, because of the fact that I bought it, because I bought it like in the fall. So one of the things is like during the summer and the spring months, the real estate industry is really, really busy. So you are going to have a lot of competition typically during the spring and the summer, because you've got families that are moving. So they're like, well, we don't want to take our kids out, move into a new district all of a sudden. So we'll do it during the summer. Once the kids are out for the summer, we'll move to a different house. They'll start a new school in the fall. So in the fall, nobody's really looking to buy houses that much. And then at the same time, because of the weather and because of the temperatures, a lot of builders aren't really building houses in the fall. And if they are, the chance of them selling them quickly and selling them right off is very low. So you can find pretty good deals typically during the fall and winter like months. You can find pretty good deals on buying a home. So before buying my house, I used to work at a housing authority. So the section that I worked in was real estate owned. So basically what happened is a family or an individual would have to foreclose on a home because they couldn't afford it. And so what would happen is that the bank that they borrowed the money from, or the bank that they had their mortgage with, would, I don't want to say repossess, but it's more or less the bank would take ownership. They would take that home back. So basically once they foreclosed on it, once the individual foreclosed on the home, then the bank would take the home back into their inventory, because at this point, you know, they have stake in the home because the borrower took out a loan on the house and used that bank. So the bank has to get something back from the money that they've loaned. So what happens is the bank takes the property back, and then they can either fix up the property and resell it, or they can decide to resell it as is. So what we did a lot of times is we would go in, we'd have different contractors, and they would go in, like say a door frame needs to be fixed, or let's say a dishwasher needs to be replaced. We would pay for that extra work to be done, and then we'd sell the home. So basically, because we were the housing authority, these would be, for us, these would be like homes that the borrower had gone through, like maybe because we have different home programs. Like for example, at the housing authority, they had first time home buyers program. So with that, let's say that the person is a first time home buyer, they used the program that we had at the housing authority to buy the house. A couple years later, you know, things get rough, they can't afford the home anymore. We would take the home back into our inventory. If there is an inspection done on the house, everything looks fine, we will sell the house as is, or we would put in the contract that it's being sold as is. Obviously, the person who is intending to buy that home signs the contract saying that they plan to buy the home as is with no fixes to it. So at that point, no party is liable for anything that happens, or we fix the house up and then we would sell it. It just depends on how bad the damage was. So that was kind of the gist of what we did, or what I did partially, because I was kind of like an assistant to, more or less, I was working part-time during this period because I was in school. I'd gone back to get my second degree in accounting. So I was in school at the time, so I was working part-time. So I was working with the full-time individual, and he was the one that was negotiating with different buyers on these homes, trying to get them resold and trying to basically get money back that we loaned to the borrower in the first place for the house. So I had that experience with it, as far as contracts, and as far as like the process of buying a house. I'd gone through that process. I'd seen that process done multiple times with this house, which what my parents and what kind of like what we tend to do is, like, I like to research things. So I researched a lot before I bought a house. I read, it's a book by Egypt, I can't think of her last name, but I watched HGTV like every single day. Property Brothers, I used to watch. Property Version, so I used to watch a lot. Fixer Upper. So I watched a lot of shows which told me I didn't want to buy an older home, even though a lot of the new homes aren't brick anymore. A lot of them have like the brick facade or stone facade, and then they have like vinyl around. So this house has vinyl. It has kind of like stone out front. It's really nice. I might show you all a picture of it. We'll see. I might put it in this video, just a glimpse of what the front of the house looks like. But so I knew I didn't want to fix it upper because it's just me, and I'm like, I don't have to have all brick. I'll take new construction so I can start from scratch, and I know I don't have any issues, and if I do have issues, they would be very minimal, to say the least. So that's what I did. I got new construction instead of buying a current home or a pre-existing home. So that's what I ended up doing. And so when I came to the sales office, I automatically knew what floor plan I wanted, and I knew that I wanted new construction. I didn't want something that they'd already built and it had been sitting for months. So they brought me to this house, and it's on the corner, which typically on the corner, it said, I don't know how accurate this is, but it said that on the corner you have more space. And I guess just because of the fact that you have one neighbor, you don't have multiple neighbors. So my house is literally on the corner, and I made a joke when I first was looking at this house. I was like, I don't want to be the girl in the corner. But anyway, yes. So I figured at the same time, it only means I have one neighbor. So I got one neighbor on that side of me, and there's no one on this side, which I really enjoy. I enjoy not having neighbors on both sides. Having a neighbor on one side is perfectly fine with me. So, and maybe at some point I'll show you all the yard. The yard here, it's big, and the one issue that I have about it is like with the landscape out here, it's kind of hilly. So like when I show you all what outside looks like, it's a really, like there's a plane, and then it's like a big dip, it's like a slope, and then the yard goes directly up. Well, not directly up, but it's a steep hill. It goes almost directly up, but it stretches out, and then it just kind of, it dips, and then it goes up. And that's one of the things that my dog is obsessed with. Since he's obsessed with water, there's an area in the yard where it dips, and the water, like when it rains, the water rolls off into the ditch, and then the dog likes to drink the water from that particular area. But what happens is we have a pond on the other side. So there's my side of the street, and then on the other side you have homes, and then behind those homes there's a pond. So the way that they set up the irrigation system is, which that's basically what it is. So they have an irrigation system going through the slope in my yard. So the water trickles down, goes into the slope of my yard, and the slope continues all the way down this side of the street. So it goes down this side of the street, and then they have an area where it cuts through, and it filters back out into the pond in the backyards of my neighbors across the street. But yes, so let me get back to the story. So I went to the sales office, automatically knew what floor plan I wanted, and I knew I wanted a new build, and this one they were already working on. Unfortunately, even though they didn't have the countertops, nothing was set up. I did specifically request if I could get a specific color and countertops and cabinets, but at that stage of building, they'd already selected the color of the cabinets, and they'd already selected the color for the countertop. So they'd already selected kind of that dark granite and then that dark wood. But I wanted like a lighter, I personally wanted like a white quartz countertop, and then like gray cabinets, or I was really excited about it because I saw where you could go and set up an appointment, and you could select your different options for your house. And that's one of the things that I didn't get to do for this home. So that was something that I really was excited and really was looking forward to. But I guess for my next home, I'll try to either build a custom home, do a custom build, or I will try to pick a home that's in a stage where it has not been built yet, and then I can make all of those selections up front before building even starts. So that is one thing I felt I was kind of robbed of with this experience. But so when I went, I literally bought the home the same day that I saw it. The same day that we did the tour of this house, I was like, I want this house. And so it was very quick, the way that all of it went through. So I didn't really I say all of that to say I didn't get a chance to look to see those details when I signed the paperwork, just because I decided to, go ahead and do the deal or close the deal the same day I saw this house. So it's good because I knew what I wanted, and I was able to go ahead and pin it down and get it done, make an offer that day. However, I didn't take the time to look to see if it was lender paid or borrower paid mortgage insurance. But either way, that's something to look out for. There's also a single paid mortgage insurance, and then there is another one called split premium mortgage insurance. But I'm not going to go into detail about them. If you all want me to do a separate video about those particular PMIs, I can. It's not a big deal because I like learning new stuff, and I like being able to share and educate people. So if you all are interested in hearing about those other PMIs, let me know, and I can do a separate video on those. But otherwise, this video is done. I'm also going to post a link to Egypt's book because I feel like it's a really good read, especially if you are a first-time homeowner. And I believe in her book, she has a section talking about buying a home, but I think she also has a section in her book about selling a home as well. So I will post a link to that. And then also my cousin, who also, she is a realtor, and she actually helped me to purchase, which made the home purchase that much more special. Just being able to share in that experience with your family members, I feel like is a big deal. So she helped me to buy this home, and then my parents were a support for me throughout this process. And as I mentioned before, you know, I was offered assistance to buy this house by my father. However, I wanted to be the one to buy my house, and so, or at least to be the one to put down the down payment. So I saved up for a couple of years before I bought this house. And so I spent my hard-earned money to buy this home, and it makes me that more proud of this purchase, is the fact that I worked hard, I saved, I earned it. And so I feel like if nothing else, I'm happy about the fact that I earned this. The more you can educate yourself before you make, because the thing is, if you're spending a lot and you're making a huge purchase, you want to make sure that you're making it wisely. You want to make sure that you're making an educated and sound decision before you make an expensive purchase, especially one like this where you're going to be invested for several years. It's not just a quick, you buy it and then you're done type thing. It's an investment. So anytime you make an investment, you want to make sure that what you're investing in is a good one, that you're making a good investment. So I feel like the more research that you can do before buying a house, the thing that you can do for yourself is to make sure that before you go into it, that you are educated and that you're knowledgeable before you do it. Everybody doesn't think like that, but personally, I feel like it's something to live by. Make sure that you go into it with an open mind and make sure that you are aware of pros and cons, and that whatever pros there are, that when you make your decision, that the pros for the decision outweighs the cons. Because at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, you will be the one that has to sleep with your decision. You will be the one that has to pay for that decision, not somebody else, but you. And so you want to be accountable for your decisions. You don't want to feel like you're a victim or that you've been victimized or taken advantage of decisions. So my pointer to everyone out there is to make sure that you educate yourself and ask questions and educate yourself. No question is a stupid question. I know that's said a lot, but at the end of the day, if you don't understand what's going on, and if you are making a decision and you don't understand what's going on, you will not make the right decision. You will not make a sound decision for yourself. And so honestly, if you have questions and you don't have the answers, and you don't ask the questions to find out the answers, you're honestly doing yourself a disservice. And the last thing that you want to do is to do a disservice to yourself, because at the end of the day, truth is everybody else is going to get theirs. So make sure that you get yours as well. So anyway, that is it for this video. I am going to stop rambling. I've done a lot of that in these videos. If I'm talking too much, let me know, and I will try to make these shorter. But it's just when I start talking, I get on a tangent and it doesn't stop. But I've been really trying. I've been trying really, really hard to stay on subject. Also, this room right here is my office. It is a mess, actually. As you all can see, I've got my big screen here. I don't think it's curved. It's not curved. The base is curved, but I've got my big screen right here for my work. So I've got that going on, and then as you all see here, I've got my recording material. So I record all of my music on my Apple laptop. And then I've got my mixer here, and then I've got like my headphones and my microphone here. So I've got like all of my recording stuff here. And then I've got this shelf on this wall, but I'm not really sure, like, I need to decorate my office, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But right now it looks a mess because, as you all see, I've got this shelf over here, and I've got a printer, which I haven't set that up yet. I don't have paper or ink right now, honestly. So truth be told, it's kind of pointless for me to even bother setting it up at the moment. I've got these shelves over here on the floor, which I wanted to do kind of like staggered shelves on the wall. Like I'll show the shelves to you right quick. So these shelves right here are gonna go downstairs in my living room, which you all saw my living room. It has the gray, it's got the gray and white carpet and that gray couch in the living room. And so I wanted to do kind of like a rustic feel sort of, and I wanted those to go on kind of like that left-hand wall. So, and just kind of stagger them. And then I wanted to take pictures with Puppy and get those up on the walls. I just haven't found anybody to put the shelves up yet because they have to go into a stud on the wall. And so, I mean, I have a stud finder, but to sit here and try to make sure that they're level and that I get them into a stud every time, I mean, it's not my line of work. So hopefully once things are a little more settled with the coronavirus stuff, I'll put the shelves up. Otherwise, what I might decide to do is, because I did invest a lot in those shelves, they're made of like really sturdy, heavy wood. I can't remember what kind of wood they're made of, but they're like some special wood from like kind of like an old building. I'll see if I can find the people that I bought these shelves from, but they are really heavy and really sturdy. So I don't have any issues with the quality of those at all. But because they are so heavy, I would want a professional to hang them up to make sure that they stay in the wall and that they don't fall down. But that's neither here nor there. So this is honestly it for this video. I will talk to you all later. Let me know in the comments if there is anything that you all want to talk about. There's nobody in these comments. Whether you all enjoyed it or not, I don't know. I may try to put some clips throughout, maybe some memes or something throughout this video, just to add a little bit of satire in here, so it's not so serious and it's not so like bogged down in so much information and blah. But yeah, so anyway, this is my first house. There's a closet to this room. It's got like my Christmas decorations, which, I mean, it's pretty organized. I can show it to you all if you all want to see it. Nah, y'all can see it. It's fine. It's fine. It's kind of a mess, but it's all good. It's all good. So I've got like arts and craft stuff in here because I like to make wreaths. And I actually have some pictures on Instagram of some wreaths I actually made. I might post pictures in this video. There's Christmas stuff. There's Halloween stuff. This is a pumpkin, which I can show y'all that stuff around Halloween. It's not a big deal, but yeah, so I have Christmas and Halloween junk in here, which if you all have seen my previous video, I bought this house on Halloween. So I got Halloween decorations. Me and my friends celebrated kind of like a housewarming / Halloween party. And I did not record that because that was before I was doing YouTube with you all. And then I got this acoustic guitar. I used to play the violin. I have my violin still at my parents' house. However, the strings to the bow is out of whack and the violin is actually not in tune anymore. So I'm gonna probably have to get new strings because I'm sure the strings on my violin are probably really, really old. So, because I have not played that since, how many years? It's been almost 13 years or so since I played the violin. So I'm sure it's been 13 years. I'm sure the strings are probably old and they probably need to be replaced before they pop when I try to play them. But yes, so when I bought this house, one of the things that I did, because I just wanted to learn a new craft, so I bought this acoustic guitar, hoping at some point I would actually learn to play it, just kind of get on it, strum a little bit, try to teach myself something new. I mean, I already have that music background from playing the violin, so I'm used to playing strings. So that's not a big deal, and I'm used to notes, so it's not a problem. But I mean, of course the notes are going to be slightly different for the acoustic guitar, because on the violin you get G, D, A, and E. Those are your strings, so you got 4 strings. On this guitar though, there's like 6 strings, so it's a little bit different going from 4 strings to 6. So that's something that I wanted to work on. I have not done it yet. However, when I do, you all will be the first to know. And that's it for this room. It's just my office, my desk over there, and this closet, this desk, that shelf, and this closet right here. Literally that is it for this room. I do have one more room to show you all. I am not going to show it for this video. Maybe for my next video I will shoot it in my last room. You all have not seen my master closet, but I do have some rearranging I want to do. I wanted to get a shelving system in it, but I just don't know if I'm going to get the shelving system yet, because truth be told, I don't know, especially with things going on now. I can't really get anybody to, I wouldn't want to get anybody to come in and set up a shelving system, but maybe at some point I will. But for like right now, I'm not really bothering with it. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just wait until my next house, and then I'll like really invest. I'll really invest in like a closet system for my new home, for my next home. How about that? So anyway, see you all for the next video. All right, later. Peace.